No a pokračujeme ďalej takýmito mestskými témami, plánmi a projektmi, ktoré zmenia tvár mesta. A pokračujeme ďalej s architektonickým štúdiom Opps Architettura, víťazom projektu na obnovu kúpeľov Größling v Bratislave. Ďalšia veľmi chytlavá a pútavá téma Opps Architettura je štúdio trojice mladých architektov z Florencie. Gro ich práce je ukotvené v rekonštrukciách, konverziách a prístavbách menších objemov. Celou tvorbou sa nesie Tvarovo prísny, no materiálovo mäkký dizajn stavieb, parciálnych elementov, ale aj nábytkových kusov. Architekti Filippo Pecoraj, Francesco Palci a Antonio Salvi chápu kontextualitu a vyhotovenie stavieb ako automatickú súčasť prostredia historických miest, do ktorých svojimi návrhmi vstupujú. Rozsahom najvýraznejším počinom štúdia Opps je práve pripravovaná rekonštrukcia bratislavských mestských kúpeľov Größling, ktorá je výsledkom ich víťazného ťaženia v medzinárodnej dvojkolovej súťaži. No a sme veľmi zvedaví aj na dňoch architektúry a dizajnu a dňoch architektúry a filmu na podrobnosti. Now we are in connection with Opps Architettura. Good evening, hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
Francesco Palci, Antonio Salvi, Paola Chiarati. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes. It's not a problem.
Good evening. So we are looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Yes. First of all, thank you for the invitation. I am Francesco Palci, a founder of Opps Architettura. And sorry but I wasn't able to be in our office in Florence, so left my partner Antonio and Paola present to Palescentia. I hope the project is interesting for the festival, and thank you.
Okay. Can you see everything is okay? Yeah? Can you hear us?
We can hear you, but we cannot see your presentation.
You cannot?
Yeah.
I think so. So good evening one more time.
Everything's all right. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, we are glad to take part in this important event. I am Antonio. Here nearby is Architetto Paola Chiriatti, which is a little bit different, Chiriatti, but also in Italy someone do this mistake, so don't worry. And we will split this speech. Opps Architettura, a brief introduction, is a small practice based in Florence since 2016. After some international experiences, we decided to work in Italy, looking at our landscape and our culture. Originated from young Tuscan architects, at the beginning we were 26, 28, and we started doing contests, basically. The aim was relate research and contingency. Now we are 6 in office. Starting from nothing, the practice approaches the architecture through private commissions, mainly residential, interiors, renovation. We have also designed some commercial spaces and 2 primary schools, one which is about to be completed right now. Anyway, this small scale teaches us to take care about details and understand how things are built. On the other hand, we have always invested a lot of our work by participating in architectural competitions, public buildings of various types and scales. During these years, we worked on over 60 competitions and won 5 first prize and about 20 other prizes. We approached this competition in a way, I would say, casual. During the hardest lockdown in Italy in March 2020. In this way, with many jobs in standby, we wanted to get closer to something exciting, a competition capable of getting passionate and capable to involve us. The Grossing competition not only seemed like a magical space, but it presented itself a very well organized international competition, starting from the jury, from the material made available to the management of the communication and the graphics as well. For this way, we want to thank the city of Bratislava and especially the Metropolitan Institute of Bratislava. Looking at Bratislava from top, we can see the typical European structure of the city, the castle, the historic city center, and a strong relation with the river. Approaching the project area, this relationship grows stronger. The Danube marks a strong boundary and the building integrates with a diffuse system of trees and green spaces. The Grossing complex, which is this one, is part of this block. And in addition to the historical part, the project includes a portion of this front, a more recent building. Some old photos show clearly the atmosphere, the presence of the building. Here you can see the corner between Medana and Kupalna Street, especially as regards the indoor settings of the swimming pools. This is the main swimming pool, a massive building that communicates prestige in a simple way, alternating stuccoed walls with large skylights that let the light fall from above. This also happens in the area of the sitting pools, a specific architectural identity which marries the rigor and the decorum of the ancient empire with the oriental conviviality of the thermal bath. But Grossing is not a question of simple architecture. We understand that the strength of architecture is seen when it becomes part of the imagination, of the culture of a place. Several people with whom we spoke say that for them, the memory of going to the large swimming pool to learn how to swim was still alive, a unique place within the city. The sensitivity is transformed from personal memory to artistic memory. The recent work of Maria Zverbova shows the pools in a deep figurative interpretation. Symmetry, chromatic calmness, formal simplicity, two-dimensional reading of space. Finally, our days, as mentioned before, among the many documents made available by the competition, there was a Grossing video tour. It was a long video, more than 1 hour. And here you can see a short sequence where we can understand the state of the abandonment in which the places are. However, the potential of the places remains strong and vivid. The functional program, the project is divided in 2 macro areas in addition to the restyling of the external public space. The first concerns the spa areas. The second, the new spaces for the city library. It was also required to find space for a cafe, an event area, artist residences, and the administrative offices of the complex. So, let's approach the project. Opalescentia. The main challenge was to understand not only how to respect the identity of the place, but how to make it even stronger. The team is made up of Opps Architettura, especially in the figure of Paola Chiriatti, who worked as a project manager for this competition. Furthermore, during the second phase of the contest, professionals specialized in structure and system were involved. While understanding the places, we always try to do in the initial phase of each project. We came across this painting by Konstantin Bauer. The city of Košice, sorry for the pronunciation, on spring looks very similar to the image of the project area seen a little while ago. These green episodes within the city suggested that they be replicated in the project, a kind of build nature that had the white walls of the Daaf as a background. A different concept from how Grosling presents itself today and in the past. But the project has the duty to feed the historical heritage, to create new ones. As simple as expressed by Mahler, tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire. Another key element of the design process was obviously the concept of opalescence. Literally, it is the property of some bodies for which they have a milky and iridescent appearance. In our case, this peculiar feature of the glass surfaces goes well with the large amount of steam that characterize the bath. It also represented a concept capable of resolving the necessary privacy between the different parts of the project without completely closing them. We were looking for a suggestion of lightness and a suspension of time. Italo Calvino is one of the greatest Italian intellectual figures of the 20th century. Among the wars, he decided to introduce for a series of lectures to be held at Harvard University at the end of the 80s. The first issue was lightness. Calvino spoke about the relationship between tragedy and comedy. In our case, we tried to translate this concept not to choose between heaviness and lightness, but to highlight the massiveness of the current buildings through the lightness of the new interventions. The axonometric view showed the lightness of what is proposed, especially looking at the area from outside. The rearrangement of the public space in front of the main building take place with a few elements. The complex is reached by the inclusion of 3 greenhouses, winter houses, built in glass and steel. The project develops from the recovery of the original entrance, the historic entrance of Grosling that we can see in this old postcard. The main building remains essentially unchanged, with the restoration of the facades and windows. Referring again to the culture that is closest to us, we have introduced a sort of panca di via. We can translate panca di via like street bench that overlooks the park. In Florence, this kind of public space is present in many of the most important Renaissance palaces. For example, Palazzo Strozzi, Palazzo Gondi, Palazzo Rucellai, Palazzo Medici Riccardi. The noble families demonstrated their importance by giving to the people a public space where they can rest. We translate this device within the project as the element that can host people and expand the cafe toward the exterior. But at the same time, this element hides the ramp that provide a soft access to the main floor for disabled people, for supplies and strollers. This is a top view where we can see this device, which is a sculpture, a bench, and a ramp at the same time. Finally, we can see in this image the contrast between the existing and the new. The only portion of the new intervention that faces the city at Cuopelna Street. The greenhouse of the new outdoor swimming pool in dialogue with the building. The facade is modeled in continuity with the existing one as the street bench on the other side. Okay, now I leave the floor to Paola, who will introduce you inside the building.
Yeah, so let's get inside the building. The spatial distribution of the various areas starts from this large angular lobby, which does not represent an invasive intervention in memory of the historical conformation. So from the lobby, the main path is divided into two parts, the bath and the library. And at the end of the cafe, on the first floor, we can find the first greenhouse dedicated to events, while the other two greenhouses, both outdoor spaces, integrate the space of the bath, configuring as a quiet space of relax. Then the functional offer is complete with the area of residence, with a total independence that is thanks to a separate entrance of Vaianeso Nabrege. So the proposal has the intention to translate in concrete the theoretical principle that Antonio said just before. The restoration of the original arches was for us one of the first design milestones. Demolishing the cladding between the arches ensures visual and physical permeability between the new and the existing pools, also emphasizing the fluidity of the spaces. Another key element for us was the inclusion of the vegetation that integrates with the building. That is made possible thanks to 3 winter gardens that allow the natural light to reach all the center of the complex. These new structures are the core of the new proposal, and they represent the contemporary lightness of Rosslyn City Bath for us. So we have also tried to manage the problem of introspection by using different types of opalescence of the glass. So some rooms have transparent glass that allow the visual connection and the inclusiveness of the spaces. Others, instead, are characterized by opaline glass to ensure privacy to users of different functions, also recalling the vapor condition typical of the bath. So let us now look at some of the most important environments within the complex. So after passing through the changing room, the user reaches this central distribution space. From it, you can reach all the main subdivisions of the bath. So the swimming pool, the sitting pool, the new arches pool, and the resting of the area that is dedicated to sauna. Here, you can see all the buffer zone. From the double level of the changing room on the second floor, you can reach the first floor and then the main area that I described just now. So the swimming pool is kept almost unchanged due to its strong monumentality, dictated by the large volume and its large skylight. This space finds natural expansion in convivial greenhouse, located just in continuity with it. In this image, we can see the end of the swimming pool and how the space expands toward the greenhouse. The opening of the arches guarantee the environment of relation space and also the visual relation with the sitting pool on the other side. Same approach for the sitting pools. Here, some additional construction and some plugs have been demolished with the aim of restoring the existing volume in its original form, always with the aim of ensuring maximum visual permeability. In this image, you can see how the sitting swimming pool spaces is related to the convivial greenhouse and how it establishes a very strong dialogue with it. So at the center of the complex, we find the greenhouse arches, a green space completely glazed that includes the historical arches and proposed itself as a large relaxed area surrounded by nature. Here, the intention was to recreate a space that could find a dialogue with the existing value, at the same time discovering the loggia, which is now free from the additional construction of the time. We now move to the last greenhouse, the Whisper greenhouse, designed to be the outdoor space of the portion of the sauna. The Whisper greenhouse looks like a cold space, characterized by a measured warm pole in the center that could guarantee its use in all seasons. Here we can see the strong relation that it has with the historical boiler room, and that is also the reception of the resting zone. Well, moving to the second floor, we find the principal reading room of the library. The project proposed the demolition of the floor between the second and the third floor, showing the wooden structure of the roof. Here we can see how the space of open shelves in this way acquire breadth and brightness, thanks to also to the existing skylight in the roof. One last suggestion for us comes from the existing materials. The sampling of the historical tiles of Grossling gave rise to one of the characteristic elements of our project, the treatment of the floors. In fact, the design proposal envisaged a modern reworking of the historical floors through the design of a new tiling, which guarantee the healthiness necessary for the recovering of the bath. The chromatic differentiation of the same flooring, for us, unified the project through only the mortar color variation. Also, the plants play a central role within the project. Trees and shrub species have been selected in accordance with the peculiar climatic conditions of the new configuration and with the filtering properties of the various species. So in this way, oxygenation and indoor air quality are obtained thanks to the ability to absorb and degrade atmospheric pollution. So what you saw was the competition proposal. And after the competition stage, we update the project proposal following a very close dialogue with the ordering party and the team of the Metropolitan Institute of Bratislava. That is a dialogue that is clearly still active. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Paola, Antonio, for your presentation. Thank you, and we look forward to visiting the baths in the future. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay,
Goodbye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you for joining us. No a pokračujeme ďalej, hovoríme o meste a teda po ďalšom z veľkých projektov, ktoré sa týkajú hlavného mesta a po prezentácii Opps Architettura, ktorí hovorili o renovácii kúpeľov GRS.